The M1 Garand hits concrete with a sickening crack. Private First Class Martinez freezes, sweat pouring down his face, unable to meet Staff Sergeant Briggs's furious glare. The entire Honor Guard platoon watches in silence as their squad mate crumbles under pressure. The bicentennial commemoration is 3 days away. Presidents will attend. The world will watch. And Martinez just dropped the rifle for the 7th time. Then an old man with a walking stick steps forward from a park bench. What happens next will leave the entire squad speechless. The sound echoes across the drill courtyard like a gunshot. Metal on stone. A 9. 5-pound instrument of ceremony lying askew on the parade grounds, its walnut stock chipped, barrel pointing accusingly at Martinez's trembling boots. "Pick it up." Staff Sergeant Briggs's voice doesn't scream. It doesn't need to. It vibrates with barely contained fury, a low growl that promises consequences. Briggs walks slowly toward the shaking private mirror-polished shoes crunching on gravel. He stops inches from Martinez's face. The drill courtyard sits behind the main parade grounds, a wide expanse of asphalt bordered by manicured lawns. The sun beats down mercilessly, 88 degrees, sweltering. The air shimmers with heat and dust kicked up by marching boots. 9 soldiers stand in formation, dress blues soaked with sweat, faces locked forward in rigid attention. Martinez is 20 years old. His hands shake so badly the rifle nearly slips again as he bends to retrieve it. Dark patches spread under his arms. His breathing comes in short, ragged gasps. "Do you know where you are, Private?" Briggs whispers it, but the whisper carries more menace than any shout. He leans closer. Martinez stares straight ahead, jaw clenched, eyes beginning to water. "Do you know what ceremony you're training for?" "The bicentennial commemoration, Staff Sergeant." Martinez's voice cracks halfway through. "And do you know who will be watching when you perform?" "Presidents, generals, foreign dignitaries." "Correct. The eyes of the world will be on this honor guard. On you. And you can't even hold a rifle without dropping it like a child drops a toy." Martinez's fingers tighten around the stock. His knuckles turn white. If you've ever felt the crushing weight of expectation, if you know what it feels like to fail when everyone is watching, this story will remind you that excellence isn't about strength, it's about soul. Before we continue, if stories of quiet dignity and unsung heroes resonate with you, tell me where you're watching from. This story of Robert Hayes reminds us that true mastery lives in the bones long after the uniform comes off. I read every comment. The platoon has been drilling for 6 hours. They're attempting the inverted suicide spin, a move so complex it's forbidden in standard manuals. Reserved only for the elite. It requires the soldier to toss the rifle, spin it 360 degrees horizontally while simultaneously rotating it vertically, and catch it blindly behind the back. Physics-defying. Martinez has dropped it 7 times. Again. Briggs steps back, crossing his arms. His jaw tightens. "We stay here until you get it, or until you pass out. I don't care which comes first." Sitting on a weathered wooden bench 30 yards away, under the shade of an oak tree, is an old man. He's been there for over an hour, breaking pieces of a granola bar and tossing them to a cluster of pigeons. His name is Robert Hayes. He's 79 years old. Hayes wears a plaid flannel shirt tucked into khaki pants and supportive walking shoes. Age spots cover the backs of his hands. His right hand has a slight shake. Pale gray eyes follow the rotation of the rifles with detached curiosity. He's gripping too tight. Hayes mumbles it to a pigeon pecking at his shoe, choking the wood, throws off the spin. Briggs hears him. The sergeant spins around looking for the source. He sees the old man, his eyes narrow. "Can I help you, sir?" Briggs barks it across the space between them. He strides toward the fence separating the drill grounds from the public park area. This is a restricted training area. Visitor Center is 2 blocks east. Hayes chews slowly on a piece of granola bar. He swallows. He doesn't look up. "I know where the Visitor Center is, Sergeant. I helped organize the dedication ceremony in 1971. Briggs rolls his eyes. Another civilian with a story. "Well, sir, unless you're here to enlist, I'm going to have to ask you to move along. You're distracting my men. I'm not distracting them." Hayes points a piece of granola toward Martinez with one gnarled finger. The fear is distracting them. Look at that boy's shoulders, raised to his ears. You can't spin a rifle when your trapezius muscles are locked. Throws off the center of gravity. Briggs walks to the fence. He leans over, imposing and angry. And I suppose you're an expert on drill and ceremony. Watch a few parades on the 4th of July and think you know the manual of arms. I know enough. Hayes's voice stays soft, conversational. I know that the M1 Garand has a balance point exactly at the gas cylinder lock screw if the stock is standard issue. That boy is holding it at the lower band. He's fighting the weight distribution. Briggs blinks. That's technically accurate. Extremely accurate. But he's not about to be corrected by a civilian in front of his squad. His neck flushes red. Listen, Pops. These are the finest soldiers in the United States Army. They train 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. They don't need advice from the peanut gallery. Now please leave before I have security escort you out. Hayes sighs. He brushes crumbs off his trousers. He stands slowly, gripping his walking stick. He moves like his joints ache. All right, Sergeant. Just trying to help. Hate to see a good rifle hit the ground. Bad for the firing pin alignment. Get back on the line. Briggs yells at Martinez. Ignoring the old man completely, he turns his back on Hayes. Pick it up. One more drop, Martinez, and you're off the team. I'll transfer you to Kitchen Patrol in Alaska. Do you hear me? Yes, Staff Sergeant. Martinez screams it, voice cracking. He bends down. His hands shake so badly he can barely grasp the stock. He lifts the rifle. The weight feels impossible. He looks at his squad mates. They look away, embarrassed for him. The pressure is suffocating. The drill courtyard bakes under the afternoon sun. Sweat drips from Martinez's nose onto the asphalt, leaving dark spots. The air smells of hot pavement and freshly cut grass from the surrounding lawn. Everything feels too bright, too loud, too much. Ready. Move. Briggs commands it like an executioner pulling a lever. Martinez throws the rifle. He tries to initiate the spin. His palm is slick with sweat. The rifle slips. It doesn't spin cleanly. It wobbles. It flies up, clips Martinez on the shoulder, and clatters onto the concrete again. Clang. The sound is worse the second time. More final. Martinez freezes. He doesn't bend down to pick it up. He just stands there, head down, shoulders sagging, defeated, broken. A recruit to his left shifts weight uncomfortably. Another stares at the ground. The shame is contagious. That's it. Briggs throws his clipboard onto the asphalt. It lands with a sharp crack. You're done. Get out of my sight. Report to the company office. I'll have your reassignment orders by tomorrow morning. Martinez's eyes go wide. His mouth opens. No sound comes out. Wait. The voice comes from behind them. Hayes hasn't left. He's opened the gate latch. He's walking onto the drill grounds, moving faster than before. The walking stick clicks rhythmically on the asphalt. He walks right past Briggs. Sir, you need to leave immediately. Briggs steps forward to intercept him. His face flushes darker. This is a security breach. I will have you arrested. Hayes stops. He turns to face Briggs. Something changes in his posture. His spine straightens. The fragility seems to evaporate. He looks Briggs directly in the eye. For a split second, Briggs feels something he hasn't felt in years. Uncertainty. The old man's eyes aren't the eyes of a confused tourist. They're sharp, focused. The eyes of someone who has stared down things much scarier than an angry drill sergeant. The boy isn't finished. Hayes says it calmly, evenly. He just needs to see how it's done properly. How it's done? Briggs laughs. It's a cruel, incredulous bark. By who? You? Sir, that rifle weighs nearly 10 pounds. If you drop it on your foot, you'll shatter every bone. Go sit down before you hurt yourself. Hayes ignores him. He walks directly to Martinez. He stops in front of the young private. Martinez looks terrified, confused, eyes darting between Hayes and Briggs. May I, son? Hayes extends one weathered hand toward the rifle. Martinez looks at Briggs desperately. Briggs crosses his arms. His jaw works silently. Then he nods once, sharply. Go ahead, Private. Give the man the weapon. Let's see the expert show us how it's done. Maybe when he throws his back out, we can finally get back to real training. Martinez hands the rifle to Hayes with both hands, like he's handing over something sacred. Hayes takes it. He doesn't grab it. He receives it. His gnarled hands, spotted with age, wrap around the wood. He closes his eyes for 3 seconds. He feels the weight. He feels the balance. He feels the history. The M1 Garand. The weapon that won the Second World War. The weapon he carried for 7 years in rain, in snow, in blistering heat, through ceremonies for heroes who would never come home. Heavy, isn't it? Hayes whispers it to Martinez. Yes, sir. Martinez breathes the words. It's only heavy if you carry it. If you dance with it, it's light as air. Hayes opens his eyes. He steps back 3 paces. He looks at the assembled squad. 9 pairs of eyes watch him with a mixture of confusion and curiosity. He looks at Briggs. The sergeant's arms remain crossed, his expression skeptical, bordering on hostile. Staff Sergeant, you called for the inverted suicide spin, high velocity. That's the drill. Briggs smirks. Don't break a hip, Pops. Hayes shifts his stance. He doesn't take the wide, athletic stance of the young soldiers. He stands with his heels together, feet at a 45-degree angle, the classic position. He drops his walking stick. It clatters to the ground. He doesn't need it anymore. Suddenly, Hayes's right hand snaps the rifle up to port arms. The movement is so fast it creates an audible snap as the leather sling hits the wood. The sound is crisp, authoritative, perfect. Briggs's smirk vanishes. That wasn't the movement of a 79-year-old man. That was the movement of a machine. Muscle memory so deeply ingrained it bypasses conscious thought. Hayes doesn't hesitate. He launches into the drill. He throws the rifle into the air. It spins. But it doesn't just spin. It blurs. The rotation is perfectly flat, perfectly centered, impossibly fast. Hayes doesn't watch the rifle with his eyes. He looks straight ahead, face a mask of stone, expressionless, focused. He catches the rifle behind his back with his left hand. The impact sounds like a drum beat, sharp, clean, smack. He throws it back over his shoulder without looking. He catches it with his right hand. Same perfect sound. The squad's eyes widen. Martinez's jaw drops open. Then comes the impossible part. Hayes brings the rifle down to his side. He extends his right arm out, palm down. He balances the rifle horizontally on the tip of his index finger. Right at the balance point he mentioned earlier. The gas cylinder lock screw. The rifle shouldn't stay. Physics says it should fall. It doesn't fall. Watch the pivot. Hayes says it calmly, not even winded. His voice doesn't shake, just the wrist. With a flick of his wrist, subtle but precise, he sends the rifle spinning like a propeller on the tip of his finger. It whirs, a kaleidoscope of wood and steel. The sheer momentum creates a gyroscopic effect that keeps it glued to his fingertip. It spins faster than seems possible. The courtyard falls silent except for the whir of the spinning rifle. The sun glints off the barrel. Recruits stare, mouths open. Briggs takes an involuntary step backward. Hayes spins it for 10 seconds. The rifle is a blur of motion, a perfect circle of controlled chaos balanced on a single point. Then, with a sudden violent upward thrust of his arm, he launches the weapon 20 feet into the air. It soars against the blue sky, spinning end over end, a tumbling cylinder of wood and steel silhouetted against white clouds. Hayes stands perfectly still. He doesn't look up. He doesn't track the rifle's arc. He extends his right arm out to the side, palm open, fingers relaxed. He waits. 1 second. The rifle climbs. 2 seconds. It reaches the apex. 3 seconds. It falls. The rifle comes down. Hayes catches it mid-spin, snatching it out of the air with a grip of iron. He catches it at the exact moment it completes a vertical rotation. The buttstock slams into his palm. The impact should hurt. His arm doesn't waver, not an inch. He absorbs the force like a shock absorber. He snaps the rifle down to order arms. The rifle grounds next to his right foot, perfectly aligned with the seam of his trousers. His spine is straight. His shoulders are square. His face remains expressionless. He holds the position for 5 seconds, a living statue. Then slowly, Deliberately, he relaxes. He leans the rifle against his leg. He bends down, moving carefully, and picks up his walking stick. The fragility returns. The slight shake comes back to his right hand. He's just an old man again. Jesus Christ. Martinez whispers it. Nobody else speaks. Briggs walks over slowly. He moves like a man approaching a bomb he doesn't understand. He looks at the rifle. He looks at Hayes. His face has gone pale. "Who are you?" Briggs asks it quietly. The arrogance is gone. The voice is humbled. That move, that finger spin, that hasn't been taught in the manual since 1963. That's the Presidential Guard signature. Nobody performs that anymore. It's considered too dangerous. Hayes leans on his walking stick, catching his breath. The exertion shows now. His chest rises and falls more rapidly. It's not dangerous if you respect the physics, Sergeant, if you understand the balance. Hayes looks at Martinez. The young private stands frozen, eyes wide as dinner plates. "You were trying to muscle it, son. Trying to force the rifle to obey. You can't force it. You guide it. The rifle wants to spin, wants to fly. You just give it permission." Briggs studies Hayes' face more carefully now. He looks at the faint scar on the old man's chin. He looks at the piercing gray eyes. He looks at the way Hayes stands, even with the walking stick. There's something familiar. Suddenly, a memory flashes. A black and white photograph in the hallway of the barracks. A wall of historical images. One photograph in particular dated 1972. "Wait." Briggs's eyes widen. His voice drops to a whisper. "Hayes. Robert Hayes." Hayes smiles. It's a small, crinkly smile that reaches his eyes. It's been a long time since anyone recognized the name. Briggs gasps. He turns sharply to his squad. "Platoon, attention!" The soldiers snap to attention instantly, confused but obedient. Their heels click together, arms slam to their sides. "Do you know who this is?" Briggs shouts it, pointing at Hayes. His voice carries across the entire courtyard. "This is Sergeant Major Robert Hayes. He served on the Presidential Honor Guard for 7 years. 7 years of ceremonial duty at the White House East Wing. He holds the record for the longest continuous service without a single mistake. Not one missed step. Not one dropped rifle. Not one imperfect salute." Briggs's voice grows louder, more animated. In 1972, Hurricane Agnes hit Washington, D.C. The city was evacuated. The president ordered all non-essential personnel to leave. Sergeant Major Hayes refused. He maintained his post for 16 straight hours in Category 3 winds because, and I quote from his citation, "The honor of the nation does not take shelter from storms." Hayes shifts his weight on the walking stick. He looks uncomfortable with the attention. "I had a job to do, Sergeant, that's all." Briggs shakes his head in disbelief. "Sir, they call you the Wall." The instructors still tell stories. Legend says you never broke position. Not once. Not in 7 years. "I broke position once." Hayes corrects softly. "During practice, 1966, my instructor made me run stadium stairs for a week. I never broke position again." Briggs turns back to his platoon. Every soldier stares at Hayes with newfound awe. People see what they expect to see. An old man on a park bench, flannel shirt, walking stick. They miss the warrior underneath because they never learned to look past appearances. True excellence doesn't announce itself. It simply exists, waiting for the moment it's needed. Briggs approaches Hayes. He extends his hand. "Sir, I apologize. I had no idea." "Don't apologize for protecting your training ground, Sergeant." Hayes shakes his hand firmly. "The grip is still strong. You're doing your job. But go easy on the boy. Fear makes the hands slippery. Pride makes them rigid. You need calm hands, quiet hands." Hayes walks over to Martinez. The young private stands at rigid attention, eyes forward, barely breathing. Hayes places a weathered hand on Martinez's shoulder. "Here, son." Hayes takes Martinez's hand and repositions it on the rifle stock. He moves the fingers half an inch up. "Feel that? That's the true balance point. Now close your eyes." Martinez closes his eyes. "Don't think about the ceremony. Don't think about the generals watching. Don't think about your sergeant yelling. Think about the soldiers who carried this rifle into battle. You're performing for them, and they aren't judging you. They're just grateful you remember. Hayes pats Martinez's shoulder gently. Try it now. Trust the balance. Trust yourself. Martinez takes a deep breath. His shoulders drop 2 inches. The tension releases from his jaw. He feels the rifle differently now. Not as a burden, as a partner. He throws it. The rifle spins. Clean, fast, controlled. Martinez reaches back blindly. His hand finds the stock. He catches it. He brings it around. He catches it again with his other hand. The sequence is smooth, fluid. Yes! The entire squad erupts in spontaneous cheering. Martinez opens his eyes, a massive grin breaking across his face. His eyes shine. I did it. I actually caught it. Good. Hayes nods, smiling. Now do it 1,000 more times until you can do it in your sleep. Until you can do it while injured. Until the rifle is an extension of your arm. Hayes turns slowly toward the gate. He moves like every step costs him. The walking stick takes his weight again. The display of athleticism seems impossible now, like it belonged to a different person. Sir, Briggs calls out. His voice is different now. Respectful, almost pleading. Will you stay? Watch the rest of the drill? We could use your guidance, your expertise. Hayes pauses at the gate. He looks back at the young soldiers. He sees the respect in their eyes. He sees the hunger to learn. He sees the fire that drove him decades ago. I can't, Sergeant. Hayes checks an old wristwatch on his left wrist. The band is worn leather. My grandson is picking me up in 10 minutes. He gets annoyed if I'm late. We're meeting his daughter for lunch. He opens the gate. The hinges creak softly. But Sergeant, one more thing. Hayes looks back over his shoulder. Yes, Sergeant Major. Briggs stands straighter. You have a good squad here. Strong, dedicated. Just remind them of something for me. What's that, sir? The uniform doesn't make the soldier. The soldier makes the uniform. These young men aren't great because they wear dress blues. They wear dress blues because they have the potential to be great. Don't let them forget the difference. Briggs nods slowly. He salutes. It's a crisp, perfect salute. Hayes returns it with equal precision. His hand moves to his brow and drops in one fluid motion. Muscle memory from decades past. Hayes walks out of the drill courtyard. He shuffles slowly now, the walking stick tapping concrete. The heat shimmers around him. He disappears into the mundane world of tourists and traffic and ordinary life. The platoon watches him go. Nobody speaks for a long moment. Briggs picks up his clipboard from where he threw it. He looks at his soldiers. The anger is gone. Something else has replaced it. Purpose. Clarity. All right. Briggs's voice is calm now. Focused. Controlled. You heard the Sergeant Major. From the top. 1,000 repetitions. And Martinez. Yes, Staff Sergeant? Move your hand up 1/2 inch, like he showed you. Yes, Staff Sergeant. The drill begins again. But the sound is different now. The rhythm is tighter. The spins are cleaner. The fear has evaporated. The soldiers aren't just practicing a routine anymore. They're not just preparing for a ceremony. They're carrying a torch. A torch passed to them by an old man with a walking stick and age-spotted hands who reminded them that greatness has no expiration date. That skill etches itself into bone and sinew and never truly fades. That the warriors we overlook are often the ones who have the most to teach. Martinez throws the rifle again. He catches it. Again. Catches it. Again. Catches it. Each repetition builds confidence. Each catch erases doubt. By the 15th repetition, he's smiling. By the 30th, he's laughing. By the 50th, he's free. The drill continues for another hour. The sun begins its descent toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Shadows grow longer across the parade grounds. The heat finally breaks. Martinez completes the inverted suicide spin 47 times without a single drop. His movements become instinctive, natural. The rifle spins like an extension of his body. The other soldiers notice. Their own performances sharpen in response. Briggs watches from the side. He doesn't yell. He doesn't criticize. He observes. Occasionally he offers a quiet correction, a subtle adjustment. His voice has lost its edge. Platoon, halt. The soldiers freeze mid-movement. They snap to attention. Briggs walks along the line, inspecting each soldier. He stops in front of Martinez. The young private stares straight ahead, chest heaving, sweat dripping, but standing tall. Private First Class Martinez. Yes, Staff Sergeant. You will perform the inverted suicide spin at the bicentennial ceremony. Position 3 in the formation. Do you understand? Martinez's eyes widen. His voice catches. Yes, Staff Sergeant. Thank you, Staff Sergeant. Don't thank me. Thank Sergeant Major Hayes, and honor his lesson by being perfect when it matters. I will, Staff Sergeant. Briggs steps back. He addresses the entire platoon. What we witnessed today is rare. Most of you will serve your entire careers and never meet a legend, never shake hands with history. Today you did both. That man could have walked away, could have ignored us, could have let us fail. Instead, he gave us something more valuable than technique. Briggs pauses. He looks at each face. He gave us perspective. He reminded us why precision matters, why excellence isn't optional, why every movement we make in that uniform carries the weight of everyone who wore it before us. The soldiers stand perfectly still. Every word lands. The honor guard doesn't exist for us. It exists for them, for the fallen, for the forgotten, for the heroes buried in the ground 50 yards from where you're standing. When you spin that rifle, you're not showing off, you're remembering. When you march in perfect step, you're not performing, you're honoring. Briggs's voice grows softer but more intense. Sergeant Major Hayes spent 7 years of his life standing in the rain, in the cold, in the heat, maintaining a standard most people can't comprehend. He did it because someone had to, because excellence demands sacrifice, because dignity requires discipline. A breeze kicks up, rustling leaves in the oak tree where Hayes sat. 3 days from now, when you stand in front of presidents and generals and cameras, I want you to remember that old man. I want you to remember his hands, the shake he couldn't control, the age spots, the walking stick, and I want you to remember what those hands could still do when it mattered. The soldiers nod almost imperceptibly, dismissed. The platoon breaks formation, but they don't scatter immediately. They stand in small groups talking quietly, processing. Martinez stays rooted to his spot, staring at the rifle in his hands. A specialist named Chen approaches Martinez. He claps him on the shoulder. You okay, man? Martinez looks up, eyes glistening. I almost quit today. I was going to tell Briggs I couldn't do it, that I wasn't good enough. But you didn't quit. No. Because of him, because he saw something I didn't. Martinez runs his hand along the rifle's stock. You know what he told me? He said the rifle wants to fly, that I just had to give it permission. I didn't understand it then, but I do now. What does it mean? It means I was fighting myself. The rifle wasn't the problem. My fear was. The courtyard empties slowly. The sun dips below the buildings. Floodlights click on, bathing the grounds in artificial brightness. Tomorrow the drill will resume. The repetitions will continue. But something fundamental has shifted. 3 days later, the bicentennial ceremony unfolds under cloudless skies. Dignitaries fill the viewing stands. Media cameras line the perimeter. The president sits in the front row, flanked by generals whose chests are covered in ribbons and medals. The honor guard marches onto the parade grounds in perfect formation. Their dress blues are immaculate. Their movements are synchronized down to the millisecond. The crowd falls silent. Martinez stands in position 3. His heart hammers in his chest, but his hands are steady. He feels the rifle's weight. He feels its balance. He hears Hayes's voice in his memory. The rifle wants to fly. Give it permission. The command comes. The drill begins. Martinez throws the rifle. It spins. He catches it behind his back, throws it again, catches it with his other hand. The movements flow like water. No hesitation, no doubt. He brings the rifle down. He balances it on his fingertip. It spins. The crowd gasps. Cameras zoom in. The rifle is a blur of motion, suspended impossibly on a single point of contact. Martinez holds it for 5 seconds. Then he launches it skyward, 20 feet up, spinning, falling. He doesn't watch it. He extends his arm. He waits. The rifle drops into his palm with a sharp smack that echoes across the grounds. Perfect. The crowd erupts in applause. The president stands. The generals nod in approval. Martinez snaps to attention, rifle at his side, face expressionless. But inside, he's soaring. After the ceremony, as the crowd disperses and the platoon prepares to march off, Martinez sees someone standing alone near the oak tree. An old man with a walking stick. Gray hair, flannel shirt. Hayes. Martinez breaks formation without thinking. He runs across the grass. Briggs sees him go and doesn't stop him. "Sir." Martinez skids to a stop in front of Hayes. He's breathing hard, smiling so wide his face hurts. "You came. You saw it." Hayes smiles. His eyes crinkle at the corners. "I saw it, son. You were perfect, flawless. I did what you taught me. I stopped fighting. I just let it happen. That's the secret most people never learn." Hayes shifts his weight on the walking stick. Excellence isn't about force. It's about flow. "You found your flow today?" Martinez's throat tightens. He blinks back tears. "Thank you, sir. You saved me. I was going to quit. You didn't need saving. You needed reminding. You always had the skill. You just forgot how to trust it." Hayes extends his hand. Martinez shakes it, feeling the strength still present in those weathered fingers. "Make me proud out there, Martinez. Keep the standard. Pass it on when your time comes." "I will, sir. I promise." Hayes nods. He turns to leave, walking slowly toward the parking area. Martinez watches him go. The old man disappears into a crowd of tourists, indistinguishable from any other grandfather enjoying a sunny afternoon. But Martinez knows better now. He knows that beneath the flannel and the walking stick is a warrior who never truly retired. A guardian who spent 7 years maintaining a standard most people can't imagine. A teacher who appeared exactly when he was needed most. Martinez walks back to his platoon. Briggs stands waiting, clipboard under his arm. "Good work today, Martinez." "Thank you, Staff Sergeant. Hayes was right about you. You just needed to get out of your own way." Martinez nods. He looks back toward the oak tree. Hayes is gone, but his lesson remains. We often look at the elderly and see what they've lost. Their youth, their speed, their strength. We forget to look at what they've kept. We forget that inside every weathered frame is a lifetime of earned wisdom. That skill etches itself into bone and muscle and doesn't fade with age. Sergeant Major Robert Hayes proved that mastery lives forever in those who truly earned it. He showed us that the most important lessons come not from textbooks or manuals, but from those who walk the path before us and return to light the way. The Honor Guard exists because men like Hayes decided that remembering matters, that excellence matters, that dignity matters. And sometimes, when the moment is right, those men step forward from the shadows to remind us what we're capable of becoming. To everyone who shared where you're watching from, thank you for recognizing those who serve in silence. Subscribe for more stories of unsung American heroes who prove that true greatness needs no announcement. See you in the next one.